Hello there, it's Andy Parks of the Washington Times, and the end is near. Yes, the end is near. No, not the world. 2021. And it couldn't have come sooner. A look at the past year's big stories and wacky ones right after this. You know, as a listener to my podcast, you qualify to receive a 50% discount on an annual digital subscription to the Washington Times. Go to washingtontimes.com/Andy. That's washingtontimes.com/ANDY for more information. Okay, let's start way back in January when Joe Biden took office. He immediately jumped into action and stopped the border wall from being finished. That, of course, contributed to the biggest influx of migrants since 1910. Oh, many were carrying COVID. Then he shut down the Keystone XL pipeline, a major piece of the puzzle to maintain U.S. energy independence. In the process, he destroyed small towns and cost 10,000 well-paying jobs, making the U.S. less energy secure. This, of course, led Joe to get down on his knees and beg for oil-producing countries to ramp up production and sell us the stuff. They said no. Oops. Oil and gas prices soared. In one day, gasoline prices shot up and eventually went from about $2 a gallon to over $3 a gallon. On the first day of Biden, he issued a mask and social distancing mandate for all federal employees and contractors on federal property. He immediately rejoined the Paris Climate Accord as well as the World Health Organization. On the first day, he reversed Donald Trump's travel ban from several Muslim countries. Biden also reversed Trump's ban on diversity training at federal agencies and for federal contractors. Just a small part of the launch of the worst presidency in American history. He would go on to make many more mistakes in his first year in office, including the pullout from Afghanistan. Many were killed and tortured by the Taliban, who quickly took the reins from ISIS, a group that had been destroyed by the Trump administration. And on the way out, sadly, 13 U.S. service members were killed in a bomb blast. Didn't matter to Joe. He wasn't one of them. It was a poorly planned withdrawal with one thing in mind, allowing Joe Biden to say, "See, I told you we'd get out, and we did." Just a small sample of the damage done by this mentally incompetent leader of the free world. Oh, and let's not forget the insult to Americans in the form of payment to illegal parents losing their children while breaking into the United States. $450,000 with a family limit of $1 million. That's all right, it's Joe's money, it's not ours. At least that's what you'd think. Then he said he's going to give us an infrastructure bill, $1.9 trillion to repair bridges, highways, and on and on. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for using our money to give it back to us to do what the government was supposed to do in the first place. In the process of spending our money like a drunken sailor, he told us it would cost zero. He would get the money from those filthy rich, like himself. Yes, those making over $400,000 a year would have to pay their fair share. And finally, we learned this year what a fair share is according to Pete Buttigieg. He said a good starting point is about 50%. Joe jumped on it and said he needed more IRS agents to go after the rich. We currently have 75,773 full-time agents. Joe wants to add another 86,000 agents. Just to get the rich? I don't think so. Hold on to your wallets, everyone. And then there's a little thing called COVID-19. On Joe's first day in office, he created the COVID Task Force. How'd that work out? In fact, so well this past Saturday, Joe told a group of governors visiting him in Delaware that there is, quote, no federal solution to COVID, unquote. What? Now you tell us? Are you serious? He now says it's each state's responsibility to deal with it. Uh-oh. What's that mean for King Fauci? and how much spending will be sucked from the state budgets. 2021 was also the year we felt the effects of defunding the police in large Democrat cities across the country. And of course, as any third grader could tell you, it was going to fail, and it did miserably. I even noticed Chicago's Mayor Lori Lightfoot delivering her Kwanzaa message before the cameras on what was a good weekend in Chicago. Yes, only 22 were shot. Now, as predicted, mayors like Lightfoot are having to rethink the idea of cutting back on the police force. Speaking of Kwanzaa, the Vice President, Kamala Harris, took time out from cackling to talk about her favorite holiday, Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is a fake and phony holiday created by radical leftist Ron Everett, a.k.a. Dr. Maulana Karenga, in 1966. And what a nice guy he was. He was a violent felon. He was convicted of torturing 2 naked black women in 1971. Yet people like Harris, our vice president, and others heap praise upon the celebration created by this thug. Oh, on a side note, the vice president finally played the race card this week. In a CBS interview, she claimed that if she were a white man like all vice presidents before her, she would be treated differently. Why, that didn't take long, did it? 2021 brought the discarding of the Cuomo brothers, and rightly so. Both were perverts with power, and it finally caught up with them. Now here's a story that's costing young Brandon Brown his career for lack of sponsorship, and it's all related to an NBC reporter trying to cover up a vulgar chant used by fans. Brandon Brown had just won his first NASCAR race and then got dragged into a nightmare. All the guy wants to do is go racing, but now sponsors are staying free and clear of him. Seems none of them want the kind of publicity they'd no doubt generate from the left if they threw sponsorship dollars at Brown. You know, in all honesty, he'd probably win a lawsuit against NBC. Better yet, make NBC sponsor the car. But the worst story of 2021 is the media, the left-wing media. It's become a joke, to put it kindly. Between papers like the Washington Post and New York Times, TV networks like CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, NBC, and even taxpayer-funded PBS and National Public Radio are complete garbage, a waste of time and money. The numbers don't lie. They're bleeding readers, viewers, and listeners at a rapid pace. Prime example as to why? Well, so-called news anchor Nicole Wallace of MSNBC proudly claimed she was a Fauci groupie. Yes, she said on her Monday show, "I'm a thrice vaccinated adherent. I buy KN95 mask by the caseload. I have one in every pocket. I wear them everywhere, except right here when I sit down to do the show." Get a life, Nicole. Well, that'll do it for 2021. Thanks for joining me today, and remember to receive a 50% discount on an annual digital subscription to the Washington Times. Go to washingtontimes.com/Andy. You'll get 24/7 digital access to the Washington Times at 50% off. Again, go to washingtontimes.com/ANDY. I'm Andy Parks. Have a great day, and Happy New Year in spite of it all.